It will be. I don't think I can guess it now.
Well, that's maybe good for you to continue.
Yeah, I need to convince my customer. So there is a fundamental difference between connectivity and mobility. We strongly believe in connectivity. We strongly believe, we believe that much in connectivity that we are actually, you will find Qualcomm components in every single USB modem. So all the USB modems that are sold by your carriers are actually based on the Qualcomm chipsets. In this year, there will be about 28 or 29 million USB modems sold across Europe. And there will be also a significant number of embedded modules in the laptop sold. So we strongly believe in that. We have invested a lot into this market, and again, we have pretty much 100% market share on this market. Now, saying that, and we are happy to keep this market share next year, if possible. Now, saying that the SmartBook is a different device. It's a mobile user device. With a USB modem, you will go to the network whenever you need it on a case-by-case basis. It's whenever you have to send an email, you will do it. Whenever you are waiting for an important email, you will check your mailbox. It's whenever you want to go for browsing, you will plug your USB modem in. So for kind of sporadic usage, the USB modem is very good. Now, if you want to have a full mobile usage, something which is always on, 24 hours a day on, always connected to the network, always synchronized with other kind of data pushed to you, you need a mobile usage. You need a device that can stay on for 24 hours a day. And again, it's a different product than a SmartBook. The form factor may be similar, the usage will be very different. And one will not replace the other. It's two different products, two different kind of people will look for one or the other.
So about 4 or 5 weeks ago, during, I think it was an analyst day in New York, Lenovo just announced the first SmartBook based on the Qualcomm Snapdragon platform. And during your press event in London, we've been also seeing a prototype from Quanta, from a huge ODM in Taiwan, presenting a SmartBook. All I can see right now is it mainly looks like a netbook. The question is, how can you do the marketing, or let's say, tell the consumer, hey, this is something different. This is not a netbook. And especially, like what I asked Gio before, was that we have so many netbooks in the market, especially over here in Europe, that are offering you this connectivity, or let's say 3G connectivity, however you want to define it then, what connectivity is. So how do you think you can convince not only us, but even the consumer to let them know, okay, a SmartBook is a different device, it is different to a network with a 3G module, and we're promoting it differently, and would it mainly be over the price point? Because what we heard in the past is that SmartBooks will be very, very competitive when it comes to the pricing.
So we are working very closely with all the mobile carriers because, as I was saying, it's a mobile device. So those devices will be mainly, sold through the carriers' channels. We are working with the French carriers, but all carriers to see how their services can be ported onto their device. If you think about, most of the carriers now, they are, triple play carriers. They are DSL providers, they are mobile carriers. They have a number of carriers have also some content. There is a lot to leverage from those carriers on this device. These devices are the best mobile device. They have a bigger screen so that they can value all their contents. It's a very, very promising type of device for the carriers, as opposed as a laptop, which is a very generic product on which carriers can basically sell connectivity for like 10, 15, maybe 20 euros a month. That's pretty much what they can do. With the SmartBook, with all this again always on, always connected, all this alert push, all this connectivity 100% of the time, they will find some smart ideas, smart services to push on this kind of device. So again, we are working with all the French carriers and the European carriers to see how their services can be ported on this kind of device from scratch. It's not a computer that every single person will customize on its own. It's really, this device will really carry the mobile, the carrier promises.
Well, Jay, what you mentioned before, and I think this was a main key to your success on this market, was the keyboard. As you know, a fundamental input system where we are so used to in the last 100 years. It didn't even change in the last 100 years since the first typewriter. Oops, sorry. There goes, oh, here we go. So since the first typewriter got introduced, and your keyboard is, from all of my experience with it, and I had about 200 netbooks hands-on so far in the last 2 years, definitely leading the market. But you also mentioned that you've been the first one when Microsoft announced the Origami project. And you had this little UNPC at that time, I think it's based on a VR platform. And do you see, especially the mid-market, as a kind of complementary device? Sorry, it's always breaking up. Maybe I should choose the other one. Oh, let's give it another try. What about mobile internet devices, UMPCs? Will we see something like this from Samsung again? I think the battery is low. Maybe we should get the other one. Sorry. Otherwise, we'll just continue without a microphone. Can you still hear us on the last? Yeah. Perfect. So, I knew we had 2 microphones. Sorry about that. So let's come back to mobile internet devices, UMPCs. Again, as one of the early of the companies that stepped into this market from the very, very first beginning when Microsoft announced the Origami project, and I remember you guys showing this back, I think it was back in 2006 during Computex in Taipei. And somehow this UMPC market and the MID market never ever took off. Can you still see a market niche for MIDs and UMPCs?
Yeah. So, I think the concept was very interesting. The concept of the current product, the Origami product. At that time, we were missing one important thing that made the success of the Netbook. It was the pricing. We introduced the price at 1,200 yen at that time, which was at that time not that much expensive compared to what was the average selling price, but still very high for the end user to make them switch this kind of product. And we have been having a lot of MID projects actually within Samsung that never came to the market, because the actual discussion that we are having within Samsung, we have been having this kind of discussion for years, and we have never identified a real market potential, mass market potential for this kind of devices in MID. And I know the discussion we are having on the smartbook, maybe I'm a little bit stupid, but I don't still see the difference within the Netbook. I see a lot of innovations in terms of software, of getting information pushed to the devices instead of getting to know it. But we are talking about 3D embedded models that are generalized in all our netbooks that we are providing to telephone carriers, for example. So I don't see such an innovation. Maybe the pricing could be an innovation, but still, if you look in the market, if you go to the phone house today, you will find Netbook at €1. So how less can we go than €1 in terms of hardware? So it's, for me, it's my personal point of view, but is there a real market opportunity for how can we approach differently the Netbook? Maybe through MID, and I do believe that there is somewhere between the netbook and the smartphones or the mobile phones that we are providing today, a world where we can I mean, a product we can find in between. But if we sense the market a little bit deeply, and this is what our headquarters has been doing for a long time, it's very difficult to introduce a product that will, let's say, bring to the market very, let's say, benefits that are seen by the users today as a real innovation and something different from the many devices that we are proposing to the market. So I think there is no growth in terms of pricing because netbooks are €1 now with carrier subscriptions. And so I hear the evolution in terms of software, in terms of how through the netbook we are going to improve our relationship to internet. Faster access, I don't know, this kind of improvements. But MID has, because since we launched Q1, we have been talking about MID for 3 years, and when you see that no constructors has actually proposed something that has been a success in the market, I think we did, maybe nobody found the right solution. This is
maybe an interesting thing before you stepping in, Jean. Qualcomm has a very interesting YouTube channel, a SmartBook channel, where you are defining your strategy of doing the marketing for it and doing the promotion. And it's all about social networking, which I really like, because I think the approach from Qualcomm is a little bit different. While we have the netbook market mainly trying to position themselves, first of all, as a hardware platform, somehow SmartBook is going to be a kind of solution, which is a matter of hardware and software. How do you see that?
So yeah, yes, absolutely. Again, it's the hardware without software is just nothing. So. As I was saying earlier, the reason for why we come to this kind of event is really to push this message about these new capabilities that will come to the market, so that the software companies that will make use of it and will start to propose new and smart ideas based on these capabilities. We were talking about form factor a little bit earlier. Again, the SmartBook will be no bigger than the thickness of your smartphone today. So if your smartphone is about 10 millimeters, that's about what you can expect. Again, same technology that in your smartphone. So you can expect devices which are about 10 millimeters thick. And in terms of weight, you can expect something like 800, 900 grams. So less than a kilo. About usage, still about usage, I see many of you have a netbook on your knees. So it's good, it's warm, it's good in winter times. All of you have been looking for the plug, nearest plug, because of course we are here for a few hours, so we need a plug. Again, hopefully next year in such a mobile environment, you won't burn your knees, and you will not fight to find the plugs. You will have your SmartBook, you will be always connected. You will have sent your report already on your blogs, and you will have a much more mobile usage of your device than we currently have today. Think about the device that you have on your knees. It's far from being a mobile device. It's far. And to the difference about, again, the smartphone had a huge success in the last 2 years, while the Mead have been a big flop. To us, the Mead is basically pretty much a very inconvenient laptop. It's a small device which is very hard to do anything on it. And the smartphone, for some reasons, is perceived as a very useful, very efficient product. Well, maybe the difference is the mobility usage. Think about it.
That's quite interesting in terms of battery life and connectivity, because I have to disagree with you on this. Sorry about that. That's what a discussion is all about. Because you've been the lucky guy that is producing my little everyday netbook over here. The Samsung NC10 is offering me about 8 hours of battery life while I'm connected over Wi-Fi. So 8 hours is, yeah, it's the I know the 3G module would definitely have a different power consumption adding to this platform, but 8 hours is pretty much the average working day, right? And you know, I can put it into hibernation mode or into standby, so I'm even saving a little bit of power. And therefore, I think the approach from Qualcomm and what especially promoted over the YouTube channel is more interesting, saying, okay, hey, we are building a kind of social networking device where you're always connected. You mentioned Facebook before. I think there's a statistic that every day about 30 to 40 million status updates on Facebook are happening. So that's a huge number. And providing the right device for this, why I can do this on the go. But the question is, why shouldn't people use just a smartphone? Because this is already available. I can get a Facebook application, I have social networking application. How are you even, don't you think that smart books, I mean, even the name, you're defining the name you made out of between a smartphone and a netbook. Don't you think that this niche might be very small for you between netbooks and smartphones?
Again, we are lucky to be very strong in the smartphone. Almost all the most well-known smartphones are based on Qualcomm. Not all of them, at least one which is not very well-known. But many others are based on Qualcomm. So we are very strong on that market. We are very strong on the USB modem. So, and again, we think it's there is not a single device, a single promise doesn't fit all.
Yeah.
So there is a market for this kind of device. There is a market for people who just want a smartphone. There is a market for people who want to have a voice phone and a smart book. There's you know, there is probably not a market for each person, but variety is what we want to offer to the industry. Then what happens, we'll see. You know, but it's hard to predict the future. I think if we are fair enough, nobody could say where we are today, like 5 years ago. So again, in the semiconductor industry, we have to have plans like 3, 4, 5 years in advance. We are providing technology that will hit the market next year, but that will be used for the next 3, 4, 5 years. How the society, how the internet will evolve in the next 4, 5 years? I think there's a lot of question mark. So we are providing this technology. How it will be used, we'll see. But we never can say what the future will be.
Jay, you mentioned before that Netbook is already getting sold for €1, of course with a contract, and of course, you know, we have to take a look at the overall price of the whole package then, because then you can easily have a device that costs you €1,000 at the end of these 24 months contract. So I'm pretty sure that smart books will have the capability of getting to the market, even getting sold with prepaid card, because at the end of the day, it's all about getting the user connected to the cloud. So if there is a device on the market, let's say getting sold for €150, together with a prepaid card, how do you think Samsung, especially because you guys were more, in terms of netbooks, more on the high price range, and the price was very, very stable with the Samsung NC10 for over a year. So the first low-cost netbook that you're getting to the market is the N130 right now, that's getting sold for between €260 and €270, which is a very, very good price for this device. So how do you think that you can compete against a device like a smartbook getting sold for €150 with a prepaid card, where everybody has the control over this price over the 2 years, while you will try to compete with €1 Samsung NC10 or N whatever, that would cost over 2 years, like nearly €1,000.
Yeah, when I was mentioning the €1 price, is just to explain why I didn't see the difference between the smart book and, and what was the market opportunity behind. From what I hear, smart book is some kind of an evolution, maybe a little bit more battery life, maybe the fact that we integrate the 3G to make the chassis thinner. I don't see it like a revolution in terms of devices and in terms of a real new concept. And obviously, as you mentioned before, the netbook pricing has been going down. So when it was $399, maybe the main price, today we can see that $299 is the most sold price segment. So the phenomenon of ASP drop in the laptop market has also been experience in the netbook market. So today, as I mentioned, we are starting, next year Q1 you will start to find this kind of devices in some brands at €199 and €30. I don't know how we can position a smart book, but obviously if we are able to propose higher battery life, thinner chassis, less expensive, it's very good for the end user, but is it really a new difference? Do we need to think about new name and everything, or are we just improving what has been the fastest growing market segment, which is the netbook? I saw a study where netbook has been the fastest growing even before PlayStation or Nintendo DS, this kind of devices. So it has really been a mass success, and we have to also think about why it has been such a mass success. And I think some of the ideas we already shared before. So improving the platform to provide even more battery life, more connectivity, as Jean mentioned, and everything. I would be glad to see this kind of evolution, and I know that we are sensing every day how we can improve the cost of our netbook, because we see the market price going down, and we need to be able to be in the market as well. So obviously, if the smart book is less expensive and can do better than the netbook, there will be no more market for the netbook. But yeah, my question is, I think maybe it's an evolution of the netbook and not a real market segment creation. This is my
Jean, something. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, just one comment. We was said a little bit earlier that 60% of the netbook never go out of the home. For sure, the smart book will not replace this 60%, but we believe there is a netbook market for like a secondary laptop. We intend to believe that the smart book may replace the netbook for the one who are using it in mobility environment. So that's why I was saying, there's probably a market for both. And I agree with you, it's not an evolution, it's an evolution. But like many devices that are coming to the market, many new devices basically don't make new things. They just make the same thing a little bit easier for the end users. And we should not neglect how lazy people are. If you provide them something easy to use, they are more than happy to use it, even if it's not for free. Look at the iTunes story. iTunes were the first solutions for pay music. There was hundreds of solutions that were available for free. Still, iTunes is already probably the best, the most used music online service, and it's not free. So again, when the right product, the right services are coming, people intend to use it when it's easier.
That's pretty interesting, Jean, because when we look back at the last 2 years of the netbook market, and what I mentioned during my opening speech was, like, we had this huge momentum for Linux on netbooks. Yeah. So what we have with the smartbooks is a non-x86 platform. Yeah. And we know, the average user is looking for a Windows system right now, and you just can't provide it. They can't use the application they're used to from the desktop PC or maybe their other laptop. So how can you convince them and let them know, okay, this is a device for you. If you don't need any Windows, you don't need any x86 CPU. It's.
I have an answer for that. The first netbook were sold as low-end, low-cost computer. If you go in the store and look for a computer, you expect Windows, XP or Vista or whatever, but you expect Windows because you buy a computer. Now, if you buy a new device, a mobile device, usually people who go in a carrier shop are not looking for the latest Symbian device, or are not looking for the latest Windows mobile device, or are not even looking for the latest Android device. They are looking for the best device that they can think about, with the best subscriptions, the best form factor, the best nicest display, etc., etc. Again, the smart book is a mobile usage, and we believe that the people will have the same behavior. Today, no one cares about which OS is in an iPhone. No one cares about which OS is in a BlackBerry.
no one cares about what the Nokia N97 OS is using. So maybe, you know, in 3 years from now, you will be looking for a super high-end connected device, very convenient connected device for all your social networking thing, for all your email, for all the, all the things that you are doing in a connected world, and you won't be looking for a specific OS.